Shout out to Tupac for all them royalties. Tupac built this house, you hear me? We in the house now.
When the police were finally allowed to go into Tupac Shakur's mansion in Woodland Hills, they discovered things that would completely change the story of his life and death. What they found inside showed a different side of the famous rapper that most people never knew existed. The house was hiding secrets worth millions of dollars. There were clues that someone close to him might have betrayed him. There was also new information that made people look again at his murder, a crime that was never solved. The mansion wasn't just a fancy home for Tupac to live in. It was the main location for a secret plan that had been kept quiet for almost 30 years. Everyone knew Tupac as a massive superstar. He had a powerful voice, sold millions of albums, and lived in a huge, beautiful house. It looked like he was living the dream. But there's something important that people don't talk about. That expensive estate in Woodland Hills, the one with the swimming pool and the big iron gates, wasn't actually his. The truth is, Death Row Records, the company run by Suge Knight, was the one who bought the house. They just let Tupac live there. They made it seem like he was a king living in his own castle, but the reality was much darker and more controlling. At the same time he was living in this mansion, Tupac was actually in very serious money trouble. When he was shot in September of 1996, the amount of cash he had in his bank accounts was only a few $100,000. But the amount of money he owed to people was over $10 million. The mansion was just another trick, designed to look like a symbol of his success and freedom. But what the police found inside showed a problem much bigger than just debt. In different rooms and hidden storage spaces, the police made an amazing discovery. They found music recordings that had never been released. They found the original master tapes, which are the most important and valuable versions of a song. They found proof of creative work that no fan had ever heard. We are talking about more than 80 songs from his time with Death Row Records that never made it onto an album. Some experts even believe there could be 20 or 30 more completed songs hidden in other secret locations. They also found recording equipment and notebooks filled with Tupac's handwritten song lyrics. All of this evidence proved that Tupac was constantly working and creating new art, even as his personal life was becoming more chaotic and dangerous. The mansion showed everyone that Tupac's work and his talent were much greater than the public ever realized, and that a large part of his work had been intentionally hidden away. But the secret music was only one piece of the puzzle. Papers and contracts found in the house showed how Death Row Records was systematically taking advantage of its artists. Suge Knight didn't just work with musicians, he had a system to control them. Even very famous singers and rappers like Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, and members of the group TLC, when they came to Death Row's studio to record, were forced to pay a kind of fee. This fee wasn't paid with money. Instead, they had to record free verses for Death Row's own songs. They did this work for which they would never be paid a single dollar. Tupac was trapped in this exact same system. Even though his famous album All Eyes on Me made over $60 million, Tupac earned less than $1 for each album that was sold. How is that possible? The contracts were written in a way that took almost all the money away from the artist. It all started when Suge Knight paid $1.4 million to get Tupac out of jail in 1995. That money wasn't a friendly gift from a friend. It was a clever trap to tie Tupac to Death Row Records with a deal that made it impossible for him to ever leave. The legal problems that started after Tupac's death showed how his life's work was in serious danger. He died without a will, which is a legal paper that tells everyone who should get your property and your money when you die. Because he didn't have a will, many different people and companies tried to claim ownership of everything he created. His mother, Tupac Shakur, had to fight for many years in court to win back control of her son's music and legacy. Death Row Records and other music companies fought very hard to keep control of the music and all the money it was earning. It took many, many years, all the way into the 2020s, for legal agreements to finally force these record labels to give back some of the music they had taken. In 2025, Tupac's estate finally got back songs like Ghost and When Thugs Cry, songs that had been locked away for decades. Court papers proved that the labels were hiding the music on purpose. They knew it was incredibly valuable and they were just waiting for the perfect time to sell it and make a huge profit. The mansion in Woodland Hills was the place where this unfair and cruel treatment first began. While his family was fighting their legal battles in court, the police were also slowly building a new case about his murder. This case finally started moving forward in 2023. In July of that year, the police searched a home in Henderson, Nevada, where the wife of a man named Dwayne Keefe D. Davis lived. Keefe D. had been talking for years. He said in interviews and even in his own book that he was in the white Cadillac from which the shots that hit Tupac were fired. But just talking about a crime on television is different from being officially charged with that crime by the police. Then, in September 2023, almost 27 years after the murder, Keefe D. was finally arrested. He was charged with planning the attack on Tupac. The case against him seemed strong at first, but then in 2025, new information came out. A new person came forward and said that someone else might have actually planned the shooting. This person also said that Keefe D. might not have even been in Las Vegas on the night Tupac was shot. Keefe D.'s lawyers now say that a private investigator has found proof that goes against the police's official story of what happened. The trial, which was supposed to happen in 2025, has been delayed. It is now scheduled for February 2026, while the police check out this new information. The clues discovered at the mansion years earlier had started the chain of doubts that were now getting bigger and bigger. The story of Tupac's money after his death is also full of surprises. In 1996, he only had about $200,000 to his name. But by 2025, the total value of his estate had grown to a massive amount, somewhere between $50 and $180 million. Since his death, his estate has earned over $40 million. Magazines like Forbes often list Tupac as one of the highest-paid celebrities in the world, even though he has passed away. This is because his mother, Afeni, managed his estate very wisely, turning his music and his name into a very valuable business. Now, in 2025, his estate is planning to release 4 never-before-heard songs as part of a new greatest hits album. But here is the saddest and most shocking truth: Tupac is worth much more money now that he is dead than he ever was when he was alive. The same music industry that took advantage of him and the same record labels that kept him poor are now making a fortune from his name and his legacy. The discoveries at the mansion proved that this was not just a simple accident. It was part of the plan from the very beginning. Even with all the music that has been officially released over the years, there is still a huge collection of his work that is locked away in vaults. Experts who have studied this believe there are 60 to 70 more completed Tupac songs that have never been released. Short clips of some of these songs sometimes appear on the internet, which makes his fans wonder and dream about what the full songs sound like. There might even be another 40 to 50 songs that no one in the public has ever heard. That is almost enough music to make 10 brand new full-length albums. Arguments over who legally owns the songs, and fights between different record companies, keep most of this amazing music locked up and hidden from the world. Death Row Records alone is said to have over 10,000 original recordings sitting in storage. This includes all those songs that other famous artists were forced to record for free. Problems with ownership, company politics, and ongoing court cases keep all of this material hidden in the dark. The mansion was the place where much of this secret music was first created and where the police first confirmed that it existed. But getting that music out of the vaults and released to the public is a whole different fight, and that battle is still going on today in 2025. In the end, the mansion was more than just the location of a crime investigation or a beautiful house. It was the starting point for one of the music industry's most carefully hidden schemes. What the police found there showed how Tupac Shakur was systematically used, left with no money, and creatively controlled by the very people who claimed they were his friends and helpers. The new clues in his murder case suggest that his death might not be the simple story that everyone believed for so long. His estate is now worth a fortune, but that money came at the cost of his freedom, his safety, and finally, his life. The things discovered at that Woodland Hills mansion continue to change what we understand about what really happened to Tupac Shakur. And in 2025, as new facts keep appearing and old secrets keep coming out, one thing is completely obvious: we still don't know the whole story.